You ever wish you could have your own private Google Drive, but with full control, locally hosted, expandable storage, and dozens of apps? That's what Nextcloud is going to give you. Howdy folks, Zach Perry, we're here with 45 Homelab. Today we're going to be doing a walkthrough of what exactly Nextcloud is, why you might want to deploy it, and how to get it running on my HL8 with Ansible, complete with ZFS-backed storage and SMB share from my pool, public HTTPS endpoint using Nginx Proxy Manager, and Let's Encrypt. So what is Nextcloud? It's an open source platform for file storage, sharing, and collaboration. It's going to let you do things like syncing files across devices, desktops, phone, tablets, share securely with friends, family, or coworkers, add apps for calendars, contacts, video calls, password management, and more, and integrate with existing storage. So things like SMB, NFS, S3, and you're not locked into one backend. Basically, it's a self-hosted alternative to cloud services that we rely on without handing your data over to somebody else. So for today, we have our HL8 with Rocky 9.6, 32 gigs of RAM. We have 6 8TB HDDs in RAID Z2. Main packages we're going to have to install are Git and Ansible, and internet access to actually pull our packages down. So for DNS, we're going to need an A record for your domain pointing to your public IP router. We're going to port forward 80 and 443, your Nginx Proxy Manager to your host, and deploying Nextcloud with Ansible. So we're going to deploy that on the HL8 and terminate TLS at Nginx Proxy Manager, and it's going to listen to HTTP internally. Now, starting here, first thing, deploying with Ansible to get our Nextcloud instance up. First thing we're going to need to do is actually edit our host file here. So we have our file here. We'll go into the terminal within Houston, and we're going to go into our directory where our Ansible playbook lives. So we're going to go into user share / Nextcloud. Nextcloud Ansible, here we go. And let's see what files we have. All right, here we go. And we are going to want to edit here. Apologies for the messiness of this guide here. I took it from my Obsidian, put it over just in the VS Code. So syntax might be a little off here, but let's just go edit our host file first. So cat host. And it's already set the local host here, so we don't have to do anything with that at the moment. And step 2 are variables. So we're going to go into group vars, and then we're going to vim our all.yaml. Let's see. Oh wow, did I not have vim on this the whole time? DNF install vim-y. And that'll just be a quick sanity check, so y'all don't have to watch me struggle through nano. So let's see here, clear, and then we'll vim all.yaml. So let's see. So want a proper domain for the setup, but our solutions team, and as you can see here, this is actually part of my script that I just took out here. So wanted to see a proper domain for this setup. So our solutions team down in North Carolina, I kind of put it up to a vote there. I said, come up with some ideas, and whatever you come up with, we'll put it up to a vote. And by an overwhelming majority, the domain, which I purchased myself, stashcloud.com, wasn't that expensive. Can't figure out why. So thanks for that there, guys. Appreciate you guys down there getting this instance set up for me, but let's continue on here. So next few things we're going to look at are our server names. So we're going to do this internally. So there might be a few disconnects, like the HTTPS will still get like not secure, things like that, but I'm going to show the steps for setting it up in a secure fashion. Now, server name, we're just going to do the IP for now. Our SSL certs, that can all stay the same. Same thing with the HTTP, the ports themselves. And then the only other things that we're going to change are the ZFS pool if it's different than what we're currently using. Mine's named Tank. So we can pretty much just leave this as is here. And so then we will quit this. And then we would just run our Ansible playbook by running this here. Now, don't want it to toss out or throw out my entire config, what I've done here. So even though I don't believe it would, but let's not risk it here. So first thing we'd want to do is access internally. And let's actually do that now. So let's grab our IP here, and actually we'll just duplicate this, make it a little easier on ourselves. And then we will do here, and can't be reached there, so error SSL, and that's because it's doing HTTPS. So let's get rid of that. And we can access it locally there. Would be a little bit more setup if we did want it to actually access it internally via the IP instead of the host name. But let's actually do the next portion, which is going to be our Nginx proxy manager. So let's go over here. So we're logged in, and you can see I already have an instance spun up here. But if we were going to make a new one, we would just go to proxy hosts. We would go add proxy hosts, and let's use the existing one as an example here. So we're going to put in our domain itself. So nextcloud.stashcloud.com. Our scheme is HTTP, and our forward host name / IP, nextcloud-app, and we're forwarding port 80. So other things that we're going to do here, custom locations, SSL, we don't have any right now, but we could do Let's Encrypt here, where we would force SSL, HTTP/2 support, excuse me, I can't speak today. Email address for Let's Encrypt, I agree, so on and so forth, and then advanced. So we don't have anything in there right now, and it'll give us our status here if it is available there. Now, next steps that we have to do are, since we're not doing the A record and everything like that, or at least showing it here, I'll walk through the steps that I've marked down. So step 1, DNS and router. So let's see, I'm not showing these steps on screen, but here's what you need in place. So an A record for nextcloud.stashcloud.com, pointing to your public IP. And you can just do whatismyip.com, something like that to grab that. Port forwarding on your router, so your WAN IP port 80 to NPM 80, WAN IP 443 to NPM, and this ensures when someone visits your domain, traffic actually reaches your Nginx proxy manager host. And then you're going to add the proxy host in NPM, which we've already done here, and the SSL tab. So we're going to request a new SSL certificate, Let's Encrypt, and SSL on, HTTP2 support on, and save. And then we can go from outside of our network and access it securely over HTTPS at nextcloud.stashcloud.com. And you should see a green padlock showing that your site is secured by Let's Encrypt. So, and let's see now. Next steps that we have here, so. Oh, one other thing we're doing is if we are going to be setting up a trusted domain, let's actually copy this. And after the first login as admin, add the proxy host details so your URLs and headers are correct. So let's go into this file here. Boom, boom, PHP. So we can see quite a bit in here. So this is our trusted domain where we add this. Since we're just using our actual local host and our IP, we can leave that as is, or otherwise it would be nextcloud.stashcloud.com. And now, when it comes to actually, we have storage on our HL8, we have those drives in a RAID Z2 as mentioned. So let's actually go into our 45 drives ZFS tab. We'll take a look here. So, oh, I have a created pool. That's new. So maybe we'll have to do a little bit of troubleshooting on this as well. A little dual video zpool troubleshooting and Nextcloud setup. So let's see how bad this is. Degraded, RAID Z2 and 2 drives faulted. So hopefully this stays up for the majority of this video. We don't have another go out on me there. We did plug some older drives in, and I think I said near the beginning they were HDDs. We changed the SSDs afterwards, so a little bit of discrepancy there, but that's all good. So we have our file system created. So if we're going to do it, we do tank and then Nextcloud. Since we already have it, we don't have to create that file system here, but then we would need to give it an identity. So again, I've gone and done that. And we have home Zach, and we would give it a Samba password here. And once that's done, we can finally go over to the file sharing tab here. We can create our actual Samba share. And this will be for accessing locally, along with mounting it to and exposing it over Nextcloud. externally to people. So let's go in, and we already put it at its path here. So /tank/Nextcloud, share name, Nextcloud, and our permissions. So click here, and our owner has full permissions here, and you can see that's me right now. So once we have that, let's actually go into our Nextcloud instance. So we're logged in here. We'll be met with this splash screen. Just gives us kind of recommended files, what we've went over last time, what we've accessed. We can customize that all from here. So showing things like status, weather, etc. So let's take a look here. So recent statuses, recent activity. Yeah, so we can see we have a little bit more there. Pops up. It's very, very snappy. And now we want to actually put Samba on this and make it accessible for people. So what we do here, and you would have to be an admin to do this portion, we would go to apps, and once that loads for us here, we would go into your apps, and we would see external storage support. Now, it was initially disabled by default, so just scroll a little bit down, you should see it here, and then you can actually go to administration settings, and then we can see our external storage here. So you can see we have some security warnings here, obviously insecurely via HTTP. It's not actually externally available there, thankfully, but we have some errors, we have certain maintenance. So it tells you a lot of stuff here. So if things aren't set up to best practices, or there's an error, a general warning, it's going to give you everything here in plain terms. So you can troubleshoot, fix those issues very, very easily. Now let's go back into our, under administration, you'll see we have external storage for personal and external storage here. So this is where we're going to want to set this up, and let's actually go and create one here, or we can use our top one here as a template. So we're going to call it SMB. We'll call this one SMB1, sure. And we would just give it its host, so the IP, the share, Nextcloud. You don't have to give it the full path or anything, just the name. Then you would give it its login. So in this case, it is my Zach user and the Samba password for the Zach user, not Zach on the Nextcloud instance. If those are the same, makes it a little bit easier. But what we'll do after that is we scroll over here, and we would go to, actually, let's go right here. And we want to enable sharing so people can actually access it externally. And we can set up certain permissions, things like that. So any change that we make, it's going to ask for us to confirm our admin password, confirm. That's all good there. And then when that is all done, we'll clean this up a little bit. And we can actually go into our Samba share, access it externally, or mount it onto our client itself. Now, one of the other things that I will overview here is just some of the general things that you can do with Nextcloud. And I mentioned it's collaboration, it's meant to be kind of an all-in-one self-hosted Google Next Drive, Canva, all these other sort of integrations. And funny thing is, it's not just, okay, you have to abandon Google Drive, you have to abandon this and go to the Nextcloud version of it. Nextcloud has a ton of integrations with these well-established and very popular applications. So it makes it very, very easy to actually go in and set that up. So I guess first thing we can do here is go over, let's go back to the dashboard here, and we can take a few things. So recent activity is a cool one there. So if you have few users, a couple of dozen different groups, etc. If you're using a LDAP authentication, you can do things like seeing all the activity here, who did what at what time and where. Now we can see let's go in and actually look at our files here. So if we have our external storage, we can see Samba right here. So if we go in and let's actually go into our /tank ls, let's see Nextcloud, and let's go in here and actually create a file here. So create a new text file. is a test. Sure, there's meeting notes, we'll go with that. So now we have that here, okay. And this is one of the things, it has these built-in templates and everything for anything you might want to make. It has an entire Office suite built right in. I believe the backend for it is using LibreOffice, but I may be incorrect on that. But if you're familiar with that, you'll be familiar with this. So let's go ahead and save this. One other thing you can do, you can see who these were saved by. You can share it out to people. And yeah, you can do an internal link, external. So depending on who you want to share it out with, it can be very granular in the way that you want to set your permissions up. So let's go ahead and close this real quick. Go here. And now let's go external storage. And the last few things we'll kind of look at here are setting up some accounts within Nextcloud itself. So we can see we have Zach and C. Carlin, who is my colleague in North Carolina, who set this instance up for me. Thank you very much, sir. And now let's actually go in, new account, and we'll call this one Joe. And we'll go display name, Joe. Just seeing his head snap up there as I said his name. And we'll give him a password here. Sure, we'll give him the same password as me. That's always secure. So we'll go in. Well, we won't make him an admin yet. Let's see, so then we'll go add new account. And we have that there. And of course, my Bitwarden is coming up there. We won't save that. And we can see we have Joe here. So now if we want him to have any sort of access to different files, folders, groups, etc., we can set that all up. Or, you know, if we want to kick him out completely, we can disable his account temporarily, put him in timeout, delete his account fully. But the last thing here is the apps. This is kind of the big thing with Nextcloud, apart from, you know, having this open source, freely available tool to really connect and collaborate with people all over the world. But that would be the apps portion here. So you can see we have a bunch of different apps here. So let's take a look at featured apps real quick. So we have collaborative tags, we have our file sharing, Nextcloud announcements. So the ones that I am a fan of, let's take a look at monitoring here. So any files, they actually move ownership, ransomware protection. I have not tested that one. That's the other thing. There are Nextcloud official apps, and then there's others that are untested by Nextcloud themselves. So you can use them, use your discretion, even for the Nextcloud ones, because I mean, even a tool that is vetted by the organization that you're currently running this on could have an issue with your current workflow, anything like that. But now let's go in and look at some of the tools that we have available to us. So different chats here, we have different dashboards, auto currency. So let's look at some of the integration. So I mentioned that you could have a bunch of different these well-established apps that are available to plug into and work pretty seamlessly with Nextcloud. So let's scroll up to the top here. So we have Teams, let's see what else. As I mentioned before, we have LDAP integration and DokaWiki, Draw.io, Element, and let's see, GitLab, GitHub integration, Google Sync, Jira integration, let's see, maps, multi-boards, a whole bunch of different stuff. Actually, one I'm not sure of, which I'm pretty sure it does have. I've talked about this tool ad nauseum, but Obsidian, search everywhere. Doesn't have Obsidian. Okay, pack her up. No. But yeah, so instead of me just clicking through everything here, except games, let's see what they have for games, because I'm curious now. Nextcloud app lets you play 2048, Circle, Solitaire. Santa Cloud is an advent calendar for Nextcloud. That's actually kind of nice. So with that, yeah, so that is Nextcloud in a nutshell there. Kind of a quick way to get it accessible externally. There are a multitude of things that you can do with it. This is really, I would say, barely even scratching the surface of what you can do with Nextcloud. It is such a full-featured, such a useful tool that we use here internally. It is just fantastic. But enough with me gushing over Nextcloud here. But if you want to see everything that we have on offer, actually do that part again. And that's it. Nextcloud on the HL8 with Ansible, data on ZFS, SMB integration, nextcloud.stashcloud.com. So what Nextcloud apps do you rely on most? Calendars, Office, Talk, password management? Drop your picks down below to use something else. And check out store.45homelab.com for everything that we have on offer. Our socials will be down below. And until next time, I'm Zach Perry. Have a good one.